ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च। So now we are almost coming to the end of the second valli of the second chapter. And the second valli of the second chapter is fully devoted by Lord Yama in talking about this Brahma Swarupam. Atma Swarupam or Brahma Swarupam is what is being talked about in this entire chapter. Also in the first Valli. The first Valli and the second Valli of the second chapter are almost dedicated to entirely talking about the Brahma Swarupam, Atma Swarupam or Brahma Swarupam. And in the previous verses, we saw that we took up the 13th verse last time, and till then Bhagwan Yamadharmaraja said that it is this one particular consciousness which is present behind every body, mind, sense complex, behind every jiva as the witnessing consciousness or the witness consciousness or the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. And it is the same consciousness which is present as the Adhishtanam of the entire name and form universe. And in the previous verse, in the 13th verse, he said that Nityo Anityanam. In every Anitya object, that which is constantly there is nothing but this Atma. Anitya is what? The name and form is Anitya. What we see superficially as the Anatma is Anitya. But every Anitya Vastu, every Anatma Vastu requires something Nitya or something permanent, something which is, continuously there. That which exists independently has to be there behind every Mithya Vastu. And therefore, here he says, Nityaha Anityanam in the 13th verse. We completed it last time, but let's take it from there, because every time I start a new session, I try to go back to one verse which we have taken the earlier session to get a kind of connection with whatever is going to be dealt with. Now, in the 13th verse, which we took up last time, Yamadharmaraja said, that Brahman, that consciousness is what? Nityaha Anityanam. Among all the Anitya Namarupas, among all the Anitya Anatmas, that is the only thing which is constantly present. There is nothing else which is constantly present. Everything is Anitya. The whole universe of names and forms is Anitya. Space is Anitya. Time is Anitya. All the causation that we are seeing, the cause and effect is Anitya. Today something is the cause, it becomes the effect. The effect becomes the cause, then another effect is formed. Similarly, everything that we find in this Jagat, including this body, mind, sense complex, is Anitya. But there is one thing which is constantly there, which is giving satta and spurti to the living beings and to the non living world of object. Satta means existence, it gives existence to every object in the universe. Spurti that is Chaitanyam, to every living jiva in this, whatever, in this entire universe. Therefore, he says, what is this Atma? Where can I find it? It is not available for me to find anywhere. He says, it is behind every name and form, that which is the constant presence behind every name and form, that which is the constant Chaitanya Rupaha behind every living organism, behind every Anatma body, mind, sense complex. That is nothing but this Atma, and you don't have to look anywhere else. This whole manifest universe is nothing but the manifestation of that same Atma. Therefore, Nityaha Anityanam. This Atma, this Brahman, is that which is constantly there among all the Anitya objects of the world. Chetanaha Chetananam, among all the jivas, starting from Chaturmukha Brahma onwards up to the lowest sthavara jiva, like the lowest blade of grass or a plant, whatever is there, that which is existing, Chaitanya Rupena, that which is existing, any form of life which is alive, this behind this Chaitana Tattvam, behind this Chaitana Jiva, the Chaitanyam that is given, that is lent, is by this Atma. Atma is the one which lends Chaitanyam. Atma is the one which lends all this sentience to every sentient organism, starting from the highest jiva, that is Chaturmukha Brahma, up till the lowest living being, whatever living beings are there, the life in them, the life principle in them, or the sentience in them is something which is lent by this Atma. Therefore, Nityaha Anityanam. It is the satta of all the objects. It is the spurti behind all the living beings. Satta Rupena, Spurti Rupena Vartate Atma Brahma. Brahma or Atma, it remains or it is present in the form of Satta Swarupa, it is in the form of Spurti Swarupa among everything that is there in the Jagat. Yeko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. And here he says, it is that one consciousness as Saguna Ishvara, as your Ishtadevata, it can manifest itself as Saguna Ishvara or your Ishtadevata and fulfill all your desires. If you have any desire, if you go about it properly, if it is there in your prarabdha to attain that particular desire or fulfill that particular desire, the same Brahman in the form of your Ishtadevata, the same Atma or Brahman in the form of Saguna Ishvara fulfills all the desires of the living beings. Vidadhati kamanyaha. Then tam atmastham ye anupashyanti dhiraha. These wise people, these mumukshus, these vivekis who see this particular consciousness or Atma or Brahman where? Nowhere else but within themselves. They find this Atma, which is the Satta Pradayaka, the Spurti Pradayaka Atma, the light of consciousness, awareness. Nowhere else. They don't look for it anywhere else. They know that it is available, Atmastham. It is present in my own body, mind, sense complex. Behind this Anatma, this whole thing is present here. This is the Atma. Ye anupashyanti. Pashyanti, they see. Anupashyanti, they see it clearly after having studied the Shastra through the Guru. Guru Mukhena Shastra Adhyayanena, they see it very clearly. So that is what is called as Anupashyanti. Very, very clearly following the Shastra, they realize that that particular Atma need not be searched for anywhere. It is not something that should be got from somewhere. It is not something after which we should run. But that is the Atma which is constantly there in me, which is constantly pulsating in me as aham asmi. I am. Iti, this constantly this Atma which is pulsating in me. This is this Atma. Iti dhiraha anupashyanti. Tesham shantihi shashvati netaresham. If you want a constant peace, a peace that surpasses all other kinds of peace, a peace that is permanent, a peace that does not come and go, a peace that is lasting, permanent peace, security, and happiness. If one wants, then one needs to find this Atma as the very adhishtanam of oneself. It is the same consciousness which is within me, within this body mind sense complex, is that consciousness within all the other body mind sense complexes, and it is that consciousness which is the adhishtanam of this entire universe. I do not have to look for it anywhere. It is not hiding somewhere. It is available everywhere. I should have the vision to see it. I should learn to transcend the name and form. I should learn to transcend the anatma and then see the constant existence and the sentience of this Atma in every living being and non living being. And such a person finds a lasting peace, a permanent peace, Shashwati Shantihi. This Shanti which does not come and go, which is a Shashwati Shantihi, na itaresham. It is not available for other people. Means what? Those who don't see this. Those who see it clearly, it is available to them. Those who don't see it, it is not available to them. And then what happens is, since Yamadharmaraja has explained that this Atma is of the nature of permanent happiness and peace, Sukham Shashvatam was said in the previous verse, in the 12th verse. In the 13th verse, he says Shashwati Shanti. This is what is that permanent peace and happiness which every jiva is looking for. This is what Yamadharmaraja is telling Nachiketa in these two verses. Now Nachiketa may get a doubt. He may get a doubt. Of course, in this Upanishad, directly Nachiketa is not asking that. It could be that some other person is asking, but since this is a dialogue that is going on between Yamadharmaraja and Nachiketa, we can say that, we can take that this 14th verse is a question from Nachiketa to Yamadharmaraja. So, what is he saying here in the 14th verse? The 14th verse says, तदेतद् इति मन्यन्ते अनिर्देश्यं परमं सुखं कथं नु तद्विजानीयां किमु भाति विभाति वा. So what does Nachiketa ask here? He says, Tad yetad iti manyante. This is the permanent source of peace and happiness. This is the Ananda Swarupa Atma. Iti, in this way, the jnanis accept this Atma. Tad yetad iti manyante. Tad, that particular Atma, is this Atma, which is what? Anirdeshyam paramam sukham. Limitless sukham. Paramam sukham. Anirdeshyam paramam sukham. That sukham which is inexplainable. Anirdeshyam means anirvachyam. That happiness, that sukham which nobody can explain in any way. Anirdeshyam, anirvachyam sukham. And that sukham which is the source of permanent sukham, Ananda Swarupaha, Anirdeshyam Paramam Sukham, Tadyetaditi Manyante. Hey Acharya, hey Yamadharmaraja, all the jnanis accept that that Brahman, which is this Atma, is nothing but the source of that inexplicable, permanent source of happiness. Katham nuta dvijaniyam. How will I find that happiness? How will I find that, Ananda Swarupa Atma? You say that it is the Ananda Swarupa Atma. How do I understand that it is this Ananda Swarupa Atma? Katham nuta dvijaniyam. Kimu bhati vibhati va. How does it manifest itself? How does it? It looks a little bit strange that after listening so much, Nachiketa, who is such an intelligent and a prepared student, a Shishya par excellence, should ask this question. But then He is asking this question that, hey, Acharya, you have been explaining in the last two verses that this is the permanent source of Sukha, Ananda Swarupa Atma. This is the permanent source of peace, Shashwati Shanti. But then, how do I know it? How do I find that peace? Where do I find that peace? Katham nu tad vijaniya? Kimu bhati vibhati va? How does it manifest itself? Does it show itself in a certain way? Does it manifest itself in a certain way? How does it show itself and how do I know about it? Now, what should Yamadharmaraja answer for this question? He does not give a direct answer. Yamadharma Raja does not give a direct answer. He does not say that this is a permanent source of peace and happiness because, no, he has already said that Atma, which is what shines as Nitya Swarupam in among all the Anitya objects, that which is shining Chetanaha Chetananam in all the living beings, that which shines as that existence, it is that Atma which is the permanent source of happiness. It is that Atma which is the permanent source of Shanti, Shashwati. He has already told that. But then Yamadharmaraja wants to now explain that again. But how does he explain that? He does not explain that in the form of Ananda Swarupa or Sukha Swarupa or Shanti Swarupa. But he explains the same thing to Nachiketa in the form of another Swarupam of Atma. And the verse that is going to come, the final verse of the second Valli of the second chapter, is the very, very common verse which we find being chanted at a time in the temple when the arati is being done. In the dark Garbhagudi, when the murti of the idol of the Lord is not very clearly seen, it is only lighted up by this half a camphor which has been put in the on the arati tray. And when the arati is being shown, whatever is being chanted is this mantra. And this is the mantra which we have seen in which we see in Mundaka Upanishad also. And this is the mantra which is the very famous mantra, which is a very well known mantra, which describes the nature of this Atma. So let us read the final verse of the second Valli of the second chapter. न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति. So what is Nachiketa's question? Nachiketa's question is what? Tad yetaditi manyante anirdeshyam paramam sukham. All the wise people consider this Atma, that Brahman which is this Atma, Tad Yetat, Tad Brahman, Yetad Atma, Paramam Sukham Swarupam, Paramam Sukha Swarupam, which is Anirdesham, indescribable. Objective happiness can be described. Even there it is sometimes very difficult. I am very happy when I say, if somebody asks me, how happy are you? Is there any gradation there? How do I say I'm little happy? I'm more happy? I'm happiest? Okay, you may have in the language, you may have happy, happier, happiest. Grades of happiness are there. In Taittiriya Upanishad, the same grades of happiness are divided to Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. But then, what kind of a grade of this happiness here it is? It is ungraded. It is the Ananda which has no grade. It is not happy, happier, happiest. It's not Priya, Moda, Pramoda. It is something which is beyond every grade. This is the happiness, this is the Ananda Swarupa of this Atma, which can never be graded as happy, happier, happiest. There is no Taratamya. This happiness where there is no Taratamya. Today, if I am happy, I may feel I can be still happier. Maybe I can be still happier. If I had this particular thing more, I could have been still happier. If this particular thing happened, I would have been the happiest person in my life. So we always talk like that when it comes to happiness. Our happiness is not that happiness which is ungraded without any taratamya. No. All our experiential happiness, all our Vishaya Ananda is nothing but that graded happiness, graded in the form of Priya, Moda, Pramoda, or happy, happier, happiest, or the one which has got Taratamya. But Yamadharmaraja wants to say that this is that consciousness where the Ananda Swarupam of this Atma cannot be graded. There is no Taratamya in that at all. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad it is said Raso Vaisaha. It is the very Rasa Rupa itself. It Atma is the very Ananda Swarupa itself. There is no question of any Taratamya, there's no question of any degree or grade of particular happiness. And what is this Atma Ananda? It is Atma itself. Atma itself is Atma Ananda. Abiding in this Atma Swarupa itself is this Atma Ananda. Nothing else is this Atma Ananda. I don't have to understand Atma and then go after happiness. Once I abide in this Atma Swarupa, whatever I experience, that means whatever I am, I don't even say experience, because abiding in the Atma Swarupa is not an experience. The very abidance in the Atma Swarupa, that Atishaya Ananda, that Niratishaya Ananda, Anirdeshya Ananda is the very Swarupam of Atma itself. Just like we said, Sat Swarupa Atma, Chit Swarupa Atma, Sat Pradayaka Atma, Spurti Pradayaka Atma. This Atma is of the nature of Ananda, Ananda Pradayaka Atma. That Ananda which does not have any grade. And how does he describe it in this particular mantra? Na tatra suryo bhati. Our Yamadharmaraja does not describe the degree of happiness. He does not say what kind of a happiness it is. He describes Atma again and says, there is nothing else which can light up this Atma. Atma is that which, because of which everything else is known. Atma is that because of which the whole universe is known. Atma is that because of which this body mind sense complex and its activities are known. So, what is Atma? Atma is the light of consciousness or awareness because of which everything else is known, and there is no second consciousness. There is no other light which can light up this consciousness. If I am seeing the sunlight today, it is because of the light of consciousness that the sunlight is visible to me. Because of the light of consciousness, the moonlight is visible to me. It is the light of consciousness because of which the stars, which are billions of light years away, are visible to me. It is because of this conscious that a small flame of camphor also is available to me. Without this light of consciousness, all those sources of light have no meaning at all. Do you think that the sun lights up this consciousness? No, it is the light of consciousness which lights up the sun also. Do you think that the moonlight lights up this consciousness? No, it is the light of this consciousness which lights up the moon also. Do you think the starlight lights up this consciousness? No, it is this consciousness, the awareness consciousness, which lights up the starlight also. Similarly, the light of the Vidyut also, that means lightning also. So, whatever source of light we see, whatever we know is because of this consciousness. And therefore, since it is total knowledge Swarupa, since it is the total knowledge, ultimate knowledge, it is the ultimate Sukha Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa also. So, how is Ananda Swarupa described here by Yamadharmaraja? It describes this as that ultimate light of consciousness because of which everything else is known. We don't need something else to make this consciousness known. This consciousness reveals itself. How does it reveal itself? Ahamasmi, Ahamasmi, I am, he is, she is, the tree is, you are. The existence in everything in this Jagat is revealed by this consciousness. I don't need anything else to reveal this consciousness. This consciousness, this Atma, This Brahman reveals everything after it. There is no need for anything else to reveal this consciousness. And this is the ultimate source of knowledge. It is the ultimate total knowledge, and therefore it is the ultimate ananda or happiness. That is what is being told here in this particular verse. He says, Na tatra suryo bhati. The sunlight cannot make this consciousness known. The sunlight cannot light up this consciousness. It is ultimately this consciousness because of which the sunlight also is brought to my notice. I know the sunlight because of this consciousness. Because of this consciousness, this sunlight is also available to me. This sunlight is able to be known by me because of this consciousness. Na Chandra Tarakam, the light of the moon, the light of the stars cannot light up this consciousness. It is the light of this consciousness which lights up the Chandra, the moonlight also, and the light of the stars also. Nema vidyuto bhanti, na ima vidyuto bhanti. This lightening which is happening, supposed to be happening every 3 seconds or 4 seconds, it seems there is lightning happening somewhere on this earth. So much of lightning is constantly happening, and none of this lightning, even the highest of the lightning, they can, probably the lightning can light up a dark room for a few seconds, that's it, but it cannot light up this consciousness. But what is it that lights up the light of the lightning vidyut also? It is nothing but this consciousness itself. Now, Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoyam Agni. What about this small camphor flame? What about this small Agni? That is why this particular mantra is chanted during Aarti. What do we do when we are doing Aarti? We have a plate in which there are one or two, camphor pieces, karpura, and we light a flame on that karpura, or in the nilanjanas the flame is there, a small flame, with a wick, and then we show that light. To whom are we showing this light? To the ultimate light of consciousness, we are showing this small light, lighted up in a flame or lighted up in a camphor. So, Uthoyam Agni. What about this Agni? This flame, which is lighted up either in a small wick with the with the oil lamp, in an oil lamp, or with the karpuras. What about this Agni? Can it light up this consciousness? Can this Agni light up this consciousness? No. It is the light of consciousness because of which even this flame of light or flame of Agni I know. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Everything is known after this Tameva Bhantam. When that shines, when the light of consciousness shines, everything else shines after it. When the light of consciousness is, everything else is. Because it is the easiness of the light of consciousness that is responsible for the easiness of everything. It is the knowledge, it is the jnanam of that consciousness which is responsible for knowing of everything that is. It is the ultimate ananda of this consciousness, which is the anirdeshyam, anirvachyam ananda, ananda swarupa. So tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tameva bhantam. When this light of consciousness shines, anubhati sarvam, everything shines after it. Nothing, this body, mind, sense complex shines after this consciousness. This whole world of millions of names and forms shines after this. Whatever phenomena are happening in the entire world, outside world, are lighted up because of this consciousness. Whatever vyavahara transaction is happening between this body, mind, sense complex and the jagat outside is lighted up because of this consciousness. Therefore, He Nachiketa, this Ananda Swarupa Atma is the ultimate light of consciousness. That is what Yamadharmaraja wants to say. He is not going to tell Nachiketa, this is the way you can find it. No, he says, what is that Ananda Swarupa Atma? It is that light of consciousness. It is that Sat Chit Ananda Atma, because of which everything else is known, because of which everything lights up, because of which everything becomes known, because of which everything shines. But by itself, it does not need anything else to light it up. Itself reveals itself. It reveals itself and reveals everything else. Like example, you take one small hour light only here, the light here above, just above my head. It reveals itself. I don't need another light to reveal this light. Sun reveals itself and reveals everything else. I don't need another light, source of light like a torch or something to light up the sun. Similarly, this is a light of consciousness which reveals itself in the form of Ahamasmi. You are there, it is there, she is there, he is there, the whole thing is revealed, made known because of this consciousness. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Everything shines after it. Anything that is there, everything that is there, that is to be known, it shines after it. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. And with this, the Atma Swarupam that has been talked about in the first and the second vallis of the second chapter is over. And now we are going to the third chapter. Now, what is the third chapter now? The third valli, sorry, not the third chapter, the third, valli of the second chapter. The third valli of the second chapter is going to summarize all the previous vallis. It is going to summarize all the previous vallis, and here in the first verse of the third valli, it is going to be describing the whole universe and the relation of this Atma or Brahman with the universe. And this verse is something which is very, very familiar to us. We have seen it in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the very first verse of the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Urdhva Moola Madhashakam Ashvattam Prahuravyayam Chandasi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. We have seen that. And where has Lord Krishna taken it from? Lord Krishna has taken it from this particular Kathopanishad itself. Lord Krishna has taken it. And so let us see now the first verse of the Tritiya Valli, the third Valli of the second chapter. So we have almost come to the end of now Kathopanishad. There is only one Valli left of 18 mantras. The 19th mantra is again the Shantipata. So 18 mantras are left. And in these 18 mantras, what is Yamadharmaraja going to do? He is going to again talk about the Swarupam of Atma, Swarupam of Brahman, and summarize the entire previous five vallis are going to be summarized here. So, what does he say in the first verse? He wants to say that this whole Jagat can be compared to a tree, Samsara Vriksha. And if there is a tree, there should be a root for that tree. So, what he says here in the first verse is whatever is available to us, whatever we see as samsara or the world, this can be compared to a tree, and it is the tree of samsara which we are seeing, and that root which is not seen, which is beyond our perception. The root of this tree, which is beyond perception, is nothing but Brahman. Therefore, Brahman or Atma is Jagat Karanam. From Brahman, with the help of Maya, this whole samsara tree has come about. Why the tree of samsara or Samsara means Jagat, you can take it as Jagat. Why the tree of Jagat has come? Because various jivas have to fulfill their karma phalas. There are millions of jivas here, and all the jivas have to fulfill their karma phalas. And to fulfill their karma phalas, they need a place, they need different lokas, they need time, desha, kala, vartamana is needed, and therefore, this entire universe is nothing but the playground for all the jivas to fulfill their karma phalas. And this entire universe, with its various fields of experience, with various lokas, various bhuvanas, There are some people who say there are 14 lokas, 14 bhuvanas, whatever it is. The number of how many number of lokas are there, it doesn't matter. But there are different fields of experiences in which various jivas are born. And this is nothing but the tree of samsara. And therefore, he describes this tree of samsara as the jagat, and the moolam or the root of this tree of the world, jagat or samsara, as Brahman. And that is the enquiry which is there in this chapter as to what is the relationship of this Jagat with Brahman. The whole thing is going to be in the form of summarizing all the previous vallis. So let us read the first verse of the third valli of the second chapter. So what does he say here? ऊर्ध्वमूलो अवाक्षाखः येषो अश्वत्थः सनातनः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्म तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकाः श्रिताः सर्वे तदुनात्येति कश्चन ये तद्वैतत्. So what he says here is, he compares the entire jagat with a tree whose root is somewhere unseen above urdhvam, and the Sri of samsara is as though in an inverted image of the tree is hanging down here. Now he says urdhvamulaha, the moolam or the root of this tree. Where is the moolam or root of this tree? Urdhvam. Urdhvam does not mean above actually. Though the Vachyartha of Urdhvam is that it is above, actually Urdhvam means that which is Brahman or that which is subtle, that which is beyond perception, that which is beyond time and perception, that which is unmanifest, that which is subtle, that is what is called as Urdhvam here. Urdhvamulam. Urdhvamulam means this is the tree of life, this is the tree of samsara, for which the root is something which is beyond perception. Of course, you may say that even in a normal tree also, the root is beyond our perception, it is in the ground, correct. But then it is possible for us to go and look for that moolam or for that root. But here, what Yamadharmaraja is saying is, what our scriptures say is that the root which is beyond time principle, that root which is beyond our perception, that root which is starting from unmanifest, that which is unmanifest, that is the root from which this samsara or jagat tree is starting. Urdhvamulaha avakshakhaha. All the shakhas or the branches are down. They are all down. They are all there present below. Avakshakaha. Yeshaha ashwathaha. This tree can be considered to be an ashwatha tree. I think all the details of Urdhva Moola Madhashakam I have given in the 15th chapter, first verse. That you can go back to that and then see if you want to listen to the Bhagavad Gita lectures on this, it is there. But here I'm going to explain the same thing again. Yeshaha Ashwathaha Sanatanaha. This can be compared to an Ashwathaha Vrikshaha. You know the Ashwathaha Vrikshaha, the ficus tree, which is something which is so large that we cannot make out where it has arisen from. Where is its root? We cannot make out where its root has arisen from, where its stem has arisen from, where the secondary roots are coming from. So it is Ashwathaha. Ashwathaha means it is the Ashwatha Vriksha, and that Vriksha, which may not be, even though it is something which is lasting for thousands of years, the Ashwatha Vriksha may last for thousands of years, but still one day or the other, the Ashwatha Vriksha is going to get destroyed itself. It is not going to be there forever. Sometime or the other, this Vriksha is going to completely get resolved or dissolved. Though he says, Urdhva Moolaha, This tree of life has its root, which is in a subtle form, which is Brahman, which is beyond recognition, which is beyond perception, which is beyond time, Urdhvamulam. And this tree has got all its branches coming down, Avakshakaha, Ashwathaha, and that is Sanatanaha. This Ashwatha Vriksha, Sanatanaha means that which goes on for a long time. What is the time limit of from creation to the resolution? Millions of years, and therefore it says that it is Sanatanaha. And then, why is a samsara or jagat is compared to a vriksha? What are the common features between the Ashwatha Vriksha and the samsara? That I have already told that in the 15th chapter, but I would like to repeat it again as to why Yamadharmaraja in the Upanishad compares this Jagat, this Jagat with the Ashwatha tree. Why does it do that? It talks about it. What is the reason for that? There are very many common things between the tree of life, that is samsara. See, even in other religions, like in Buddhism and all that also, we find paintings on tree of life. It's very common. If you go to any Buddhist states or any Buddhist temples also, you'll find that the tree of life is painted there. There also they talk about the tree of life. So here our Upanishads also talk about this tree of life, which is the tree that the Jagat represents. The Jagat which represents the tree of the Jagat, and why it is representing the Jagat, the common forms are there. One common reasons are there for this. And what are the common reasons? Number one, Mahatvam. Mahatvam. This tree, which is the Ashwatha tree, is a huge tree. I mean, I'm sure every one of us would have seen a huge Ashwatha tree. We can't call it actually a banyan tree. It is something like it's another variety of banyan tree, Ashwatha. So it belongs to the same ficus genus. It belongs to. So it's a huge tree. Where it starts, where it ends. Sometimes this Ashwatha tree can spread to quite meters and meters in size. It can spread to. So Mahatvam, this prapancha also is completely, we don't know where it starts and where it ends. Where does this universe begin? Where does this universe end? We don't know. Is there some kind of a measurement to say? And the scientists say that every day the universe is expanding. The limits of the universe are expanding, and we don't know how big the universe is. Similarly, the tree is compared, the tree of life or tree of samsara or tree of the Jagat Rupi Vriksha is compared, by Mahatvam to this, Mahatvam, the tree and the samsara. That Jagat and the tree can be compared with each other because of this following common points. Mahatvam. Just like the Ashwatha tree is very, very huge, this Jagat also is so huge. It is beyond limitations and it is beyond where we can limit it and measure it and say this is this. Secondly, it is Sanatanam. Sanatanam means what? It lasts for a long, 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 long time. Sanatana does not mean permanent or nityam. The tree of life or the Jagat is also anityam. There is no doubt about it. The Jagat is anityam. The tree representing the Jagat is also anityam. But how long is its anityatvam? It is long, 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 long time. Billions and billions of years this creation lasts. Similarly, hundreds and thousands of years this tree of Ashwatha lasts. But a time comes when the Ashwatha tree also has to die and go. A time comes after billions of years where this creation also gets resolved into Maya, into Prakriti and Brahman. So Sanatana. Then Anirvachaniyam, third one, Anirvachaniyam, indescribable. Can you start from somewhere and end from somewhere? Can you start from the middle? Where do you start describing this Jagat from? Where do you start describing this Ashwatha tree from? Another common point, the third common point is that is Anirvachaniyatvam. Anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam, because you cannot very clearly say this is this, this is this, this is that. You cannot very clearly say. So it is Anirvachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam also means you can neither describe its cause nor its effect. In this Jagat, what is the cause, what is the effect? Where is the cause, where is the effect? What is the cause which is giving rise to the effect? Which is the effect, from which cause it has come? Is there any possibility of describing the cause and effect? We only see the chain of cause and effects in this world. But from where it started, do we know? We have whether seed came first or tree came first. The egg came first or the chicken came first. This is anirvachaniyam. You cannot say. There is nothing called as the first egg or the first chicken. There's nothing called as the first tree or the first seed. It is something which is going on and on, Kalana. This cause effect is going on in this world also. It is a world of cause effect, cause effect, cause effect. It's going on and on and on and on. Therefore, this world has been described as the Ashwatha tree also. The tree produces seeds, the seeds fall in the same place, new branches come out, new trees are coming out. Whether it is one tree, whether it is a conglomeration of many trees, we do not know. We do not know neither the cause nor the effect. Therefore, anirvachaniyam. Fourth one, the root is invisible. Do we know where the root is of this Ashwatha tree? How far below the ground it has gone, we don't know. Where it has gone, we don't know. How much it has spread, we don't know. There are so many tap roots also which are coming from the sides and getting into the ground. So we don't know where the root is. The root is something which is beyond one's recognition. So it is an invisible root in Ashwatha tree. Similarly, in the Jagat also, where is the cause of this Jagat? We say Brahman is the cause of this Jagat. From Brahman, with the effect of Maya, Maya has projected this world on the Brahman. All these things we say, but what is the root? The Brahman, are we able to see that? We are not able to see that. Very clearly here in the mantra it says Urdhva Moolam, the subtle Moolam, that which is not manifest, that which is beyond time principle. Where is it to be seen? It is not to be seen. But we have to infer that there is a root because of the tree. If the Jagat is there, there must be a cause for it. What is the cause for it? Our scriptures say it is this Sanatanam Brahma, and it is the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Vivarta Karanam, without undergoing any change, being ekameva advitiyam, without undergoing any change, with the help of its power Maya, the whole world is manifesting in Brahman. The whole world is an appearance in Brahman. The whole world is nothing but a projection in Brahman. And the world is not real, it is a mere projection, like the projection of a movie on a screen which looks real but which is not real, like the projection of a magic from a magician which is clearly seen but which is not real. So where is this root of this particular jagat? We don't know. Where is the root of this magic? We don't know. Where is the root of this movie? Yes, it is somewhere else. But here, when it comes to this Jagat, where is the root of this Jagat? Where is the moolam of this Jagat? So we don't know. Invisible root. Then next one is branches in all directions. This root, this tree, Ashwatha tree, has branches in all directions. There are branches in every direction, in all direction there are branches. There are branches above, there are branches below, there are branches on the side, so there are branches everywhere. Similarly, in this world also, there are lokas everywhere. Everywhere there is, there are fields of experience. There are higher lokas, there are lower lokas. There is the Bhuloka, Bhuar Loka, Suvar Loka, Mahar Loka, Jana Loka, Loka, Tapa Loka, Brahma Loka, so many lokas are there above also. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala are also there, which are the lower lokas. So 14 lokas, 14 bhuvanas are supposed to be there. They are considered to be branches. They are the very widely spreading branches of the tree of Ashwatha. Similarly, this world also has got many fields of experience where there are many types of jivas are residing and going through their karma phalas. And then the next one says that there are leaves. This Ashwatha tree has leaves which are absolutely necessary for absorbing the water, creating the food, and maintaining this tree. Leaves are there in plenty. Uncountable leaves are there. And what are the leaves for the samsara vriksha? For this jagat, what are the leaves? The Vedas are supposed to be the leaves. We saw it in the 15th verse. Chandansi yasya parnani. Chandamsi, that is the Vedas, are the Veda Purva especially, are the leaves. Why? Because of the Veda Purva, the living beings do various karmas, various upasanas, they get karma phalas, and to fulfill the karmas phalas, they have to be born again and again, again and again. So the leaves are sustaining the tree of life. Similarly, the Vedas are also sustaining this life, and therefore the Ashwatha Vriksha and the life Jagat can be compared, having many leaves which sustain the tree, and the Vedas here are sustaining this tree of life. Then there are fruits, flowers and fruits which are formed in this Ashwatha tree. And here also in this Jagat also, Samsara also, we have got the fruits and flowers which are nothing but karma phalas. What are the fruits? What are the flowers that we get in this particular Jagat? It is the karma phalas. If the leaves are the ones which are making us to do the karmas, to do the various upasanas and karmas according to the Veda Purva, then what are the phalas? They are like the fruits and the flowers of the tree. The Ashwatha tree gives fruits and flowers which are eaten by the birds, which are eaten by various animals. Similarly, the tree of the world or samsara produces various karma phalas in the form of fruits and flowers which are consumed by these jivas, and this tree of samsara continues. That is the fruits of, and this tree is very noisy. Why? Because there are so many animals, monkeys, squirrels, and so many other things residing on that. So many birds are residing on this tree. So the tree is very noisy. And the same thing as far as our life is also concerned, our Jagat is also concerned. Very noisy. Actually, Bhagwan Shankaracharya has written a beautiful bhashya in this Kathopanishad on this particular mantra, where he gives a beautiful description of this tree of samsara, which is compared with that of the Ashwatha tree. He says constantly people are making noises. Somebody is crying, somebody is laughing, somebody is shouting, somebody is screaming, somebody is singing. So ha ha hoo, there are a lot of noises that are continuously going on in this jagat. Similarly, on this tree, Ashwatha tree also, because of the animals and birds residing on it, jumping around here and there, therefore there is a lot of noise that is there in this tree also. And lastly, this Ashwatha tree can be usurped. It can be felled by an axe. In the same way, this tree of samsara can also be destroyed by the axe of knowledge. Jnana asi. We have seen that also in the 15th chapter. That this tree of samsara, this jagat cannot be destroyed, but satyatvam of the jagat for me can be destroyed by the sword of Jnanam. Jnana Asina. Jnana Asi. Asi means the sword or the axe. By the axe of knowledge, by understanding what the Upanishads say. What do the Upanishads say? Jagan Mithya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. You are the only Satyam. The consciousness is the only Satyam. The entire Jagat is Mithya. Very clearly it says that. Therefore, by this knowledge, by this light of knowledge, by this acts of knowledge, the tree of ignorance, samsara, can be destroyed. Similarly, by an axe, this tree of Ashwatha also can be destroyed. And then he says, Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. We have seen it in the earlier mantras. That particular Moolam, Tadeva Tad Brahma, Tadeva Tad Brahma, that unseen Moolam, which is beyond time, which is the most subtle one, which is beyond manifestation, which is the very Jagat Karanam of this Samsara Vriksha, that is what is called as Brahman. Shukram, Tadeva Shukram. It is that root, that cause of the universe, which is not affected by anything. It is Asanga Atma, Asanga Brahman, Tadeva Amrita Muchyate. This is that immortal consciousness or Brahman. Tasmin Lokaha Sarve Shritaha. In this particular root or in this Brahman, all the lokas, all the fields of experiences, the entire Jagat is situated. Sarve tadu, that is sorry, tadu natyeti kaschana. There is nothing else which can actually transcend this Brahman. Sa kashta sa paragatihi. Purushat na anyat kinchit. Sa kashta sa paragatihi. There is nothing other than this Purusha, nothing other than this Brahman. And what is this Brahman? This is the unseen, this is beyond time, and this is beyond manifestation. The unmanifest root of this tree of life is nothing but Brahman, which is Shukram, which is pure. Though it is the cause of the entire universe, the effect called as the universe does not affect it. The cause, Brahman, does not get affected by its own creation. The creation is there, but it does not get created by affected by its own creation. Tadeva Tad Brahma Shukram Tadeva Amritam. This is that immortal Brahman, knowing which I will be free from this samsara. Jnana asina, it can be removed, means what? That Karanam of the Jagat is nothing but I, the Atma. Knowing this, the entire Jagat is completely gone for me, and the Satyatvam of the Jagat which I give, the Satyatvam which I give to this Jagat is completely gone. And in the second verse, he says, this entire universe is manifesting in it. Of course, we'll see it next time. The second verse just says that it is this Brahman, it is this unseen root in which the entire Jagat of names and forms is manifest. So we will stop with this time, and in the next sessions we'll go through the other parts of this particular last valley. We are almost coming to the end of it. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.